December 22nd, 1944. Bastogne, Belgium. You're surrounded. Completely encircled by 4 German divisions. 18,000 American soldiers trapped in a frozen town. No supplies. No reinforcements. Running out of ammunition. Running out of food. Running out of time. The temperature is below freezing. You're wearing summer uniforms because nobody expected a winter offensive. Your boots are frozen to your feet. Your rifle is so cold it burns your hands. German artillery pounds your positions day and night. Panzer tanks prowl the perimeter. SS divisions probe for weaknesses. And then a German officer arrives under a white flag with an ultimatum from the enemy commander.
The fortune of war is changing. There's only one possibility to save the encircled USA troops from total annihilation. That is the honorable surrender of the encircled town.
Your commanding general reads the message, looks at his staff, and gives a response that will echo through history. Nuts. This is the story of the Siege of Bastogne, the Battle of the Bulge. Hitler's last desperate gamble to split the Allied armies and win World War II. For 7 days, American paratroopers and armored units held a frozen Belgian town against overwhelming German forces. Outnumbered, outgunned, surrounded on all sides, they were told to hold until relieved. They were not told if relief would ever come. This is 120 minutes of pure combat. The cold, the artillery, the night attacks, the desperate defense, the fog that grounded air support, the shortages, the wounds, the deaths. This is what it was like to be at Bastogne, and this is the story of the men who refused to surrender. December 16th, 1944. The Ardennes Forest. Let's set the stage. By December 1944, World War II in Europe is almost over. Everyone knows it. The Allies landed in Normandy 6 months ago. Paris is liberated. Allied armies are pushing toward the German border. Germany is losing. It's just a matter of time. Except Adolf Hitler has other plans. Hitler looks at the map and sees an opportunity. The Ardennes Forest, the same forest the Germans attacked through in 1940. Lightly defended, thinly spread American divisions, new troops, inexperienced. If he can punch through there, split the Allied armies, capture the port of Antwerp, cut off British and Canadian forces from American forces, maybe he can force a negotiated peace, at least in the West. Then turn all German forces against the Soviets in the East. It's desperate. It's probably impossible, but Hitler orders it anyway. Operisha, Wahatoe, Morain, watch on the Rhine. The Allies will call it the Battle of the Bulge. 250,000 German soldiers, nearly 1,000 tanks, thousands of artillery pieces, the largest German offensive since 1940, and they're aiming straight through the Ardennes toward a road junction town called Why? Bastogne. Look at a map. 7 major roads converge there. If you control Bastogne, you control movement through the entire region. Tanks need roads, especially in winter, especially in the Ardennes. Bastogne is the key to everything. The problem, it's held by Americans. Not many. Most forces are elsewhere, preparing for offensives into Germany. But there are some units in reserve nearby, including the 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles, elite paratroopers. Veterans of D-Day and Market Garden. They're supposed to be resting, refitting, recovering. Instead, they're about to walk into hell. December 16th, 1944, 5:30 a.m. Without warning, German artillery erupts along an 80-mile front. Thousands of shells. The ground shakes. Trees explode. Positions are obliterated. American soldiers wake up to the world ending. Then come the tanks. Panthers. Tigers. panzer, Ivy, advancing through the fog and snow. Behind them, German infantry, elite divisions, some dressed in American uniforms, speaking English, sowing confusion. The green American divisions, in the Ardennes some, who've been in combat for only the Tsar. Overrun, units shattered, communications cut, entire regiments surrounded or destroyed, were being hit from 3 sides. Tanks coming through the trees. We need artillery support now. Within hours, the German advance punches deep into Allied lines. The carefully planned Allied front collapses. Panic spreads to headquarters. Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force Chef. General Eisenhower's command. Maps show German penetrations. Intelligence reports flood in. The picture is catastrophic. Eisenhower makes rapid decisions. Shift reserves. Send reinforcements. And most critically, hold Bastogne at all costs. The 101st Airborne is at Camp Mermelon in France. Resting. Many officers are away. Some men are on leave in Paris. December 17th. The order comes, move out. Now. Destination, Bastogne. The 101st loads onto trucks. They're moving so fast, they don't have time to gather full winter equipment. Many paratroopers are in standard uniforms, not equipped for a Belgian winter. Ammunition is grabbed. Rations stuffed into packs. They drive through the night. Through the cold. Through refugees fleeing the opposite direction. Nobody tells them exactly what they're driving into. December 18th to 19th. The 101st Airborne arrives at Bastogne. The town is chaos. Refugees clogging roads. Retreating American units falling back through the streets. Wounded everywhere. Fear and confusion. Major General Maxwell, Taylor commander of the 101st, is away in Washington. Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe is acting commander. McAuliffe is a no-nonsense artilleryman. Tough, practical, unflappable. He arrives in Bastogne, surveys the situation, and issues orders.
We dig in. We hold. No retreat.
The 101st begins establishing a defensive perimeter around Bastogne. 8 miles in diameter, foxholes dug in frozen ground. Machine gun positions, roadblocks, artillery positioned, joined by remnants of other Unis-armored divisions, engineers, artillery battalions. Everyone who can hold a rifle. Total forces, approximately 18,000 men. And they arrive just in time, because the Germans are coming. December 20th, 1944. German forces surround Bastogne. The encirclement is complete. The 101st is cut off. No road access. No supply line. No reinforcements. They have ammunition for maybe 3 days of heavy fighting. Medical supplies running low. Food for a few days. No winter clothing. Limited artillery shells. And fog. Thick fog. Which means no air support. No resupply drops. No reconnaissance. The temperature drops below freezing. Stays there. Snow falls. The ground is iron hard. German forces 4 full divisions, including elite Panzer and Volksgrenadier units, probe the perimeter. Testing. Looking for weak points. The siege has begun. Let me describe what it's like to be an American soldier in Bastogne right now. December 20th. You're in a foxhole. It's 2 feet deep. The ground is too frozen to dig deeper. You and your buddy are crammed in together for warmth. You're wearing a standard wool uniform, not designed for this cold. A field jacket, boots slowly freezing to your feet. A helmet feels like a block of ice on your head. Whatever else you could scavenge, blankets, enemy coats, anything. The temperature is 20 degrees Fahrenheit, -6 Celsius, and dropping. Your rifle is coated in frost. Your ammunition is so cold you have to warm it against your body or it might not fire properly. You haven't eaten hot food in 2 days. Your rations are frozen solid. You hack at them with a knife. Water is scarce. The water in your canteen freezes. You melt snow in your mouth. You haven't slept more than an hour at a time. German artillery shells the perimeter randomly. Day and night, you never know when. Your feet are numb. You know that's dangerous trench foot, frostbite. But there's nothing you can do. You stamp them. Try to keep blood flowing. Your hands are so cold, you can barely pull a trigger. And somewhere out there in the fog and trees, German soldiers are moving, preparing to attack. You listen, wait. Watch the tree line. This is December 20th, evening. The first major German assault. German guns open up. Shells slam into American positions. The ground erupts. Trees shatter. Foxholes collapse. For 30 minutes, the bombardment continues. Then it stops. Silence. Worse than the shelling. American soldiers peer over their foxholes. Through the fog. Through the smoke. And then they see them. German infantry. Advancing in waves. Gray uniforms. Against white snow. Hundreds of them. Behind them. Panzer tanks. Tigers and Panthers. The most feared tanks on the battlefield. The Germans are attacking the eastern perimeter, trying to punch through into Bastogne. Sergeant Paul Gork, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, remembers.
We could hear them before we could see them. The Germans were shouting, coordinating their advance. Then they came out of the fog like ghosts. Just shapes at first. Then details. Faces. Weapons. Someone yelled open fire. And the whole line erupted.
American positions open up. Rifle fire. Machine guns. BARS. Browning automatic rifles ripping through German ranks. The lead German infantry fall. The advance staggers. But they keep coming. American artillery. What little they have begins firing. Not at maximum range. Close. Danger. Close. Shells landing meters from friendly positions. Explosions rip through the German advance. But the tanks keep coming. A Panther tank crashes through the tree line. Its 75mm gun swivels toward American positions. A foxhole disappears in a blast of fire and dirt. American bazooka teams scramble. Get into positions. A soldier kneels, steadies the tube on his partner's shoulder, aims at the Panther's flank. Armor is thinner there. The rocket hits. The Panther lurches, smoke pouring from its engine. The crew bails out, but another tank is already moving up behind it. The battle rages for hours. Germans attack. Americans hold. German artillery pounds the positions. American artillery fires back sparingly. Casualties mount on both sides. By midnight, the German assault breaks off. They've failed to penetrate the line. American medics move through the positions, tending to wounded, dragging bodies back. The cold is so intense that blood freezes on the ground. Soldiers check ammunition, redistribute what little they have. Prepare for the next attack, because everyone knows the Germans will try again. December 21st. Dawn. Fog still heavy. The perimeter holds. Barely. But problems are mounting. Ammunition is running low. Artillery has reduced fire rates to conserve shells. Medical supplies are critical. The aid stations are overwhelmed. Wounded men lying in churches, cellars, anywhere with a roof. Surgeons operate without adequate anesthesia, without plasma, without enough morphine. Food is scarce. Soldiers are on half rations. Then quarter rations. And the cold, the brutal, relentless cold. Cases of frostbite and trench foot are men's feet swelled so badly they can't get their boots off. When they do, the flesh is black. General McAuliffe walks the perimeter. checks on his men, sees the conditions, says little, but sees everything. His staff asks, "What if the Germans offer surrender terms?" McAuliffe doesn't answer, just keeps walking. December 22nd, 4 German soldiers approach American lines under a white flag. Truce. They have a message for the American commander. They're blindfolded and brought to a command post. They hand over a typed message. A German officer has sent an ultimatum. Formal, military, polite. The message reads, "To the USA commander of the encircled town of Bastogne, the fortune of war is changing. This time, the USA forces in and near Bastogne have been encircled by strong German armored units. More German armored units have crossed the River Earth near Orthouville, have taken Marche, and reached St. Hubert by passing through Humper-Sabret. Tillet. There is only one possibility to save the encircled USA troops from total annihilation. That is the honorable surrender of the encircled town. In order to think it over, a term of 2 hours will be granted, beginning with the presentation of this note. If this proposal should be rejected, 1 German artillery corps and 6 heavy AA battalions are ready to annihilate the USA troops in and near Bastogne. All the serious civilian losses caused by this artillery fire would not correspond with the well-known American humanity. The German commander. The message is brought to General McAuliffe. He's dealing with supply issues, casualty reports, defensive positions. He reads the message, looks up at his staff, and says,
"Oh, nuts."
His staff laughs. The tension breaks for a moment. Then someone says, "What should we tell them?" McAuliffe thinks. Then says, "That first remark of mine would be hard to beat." The official reply is typed up. To the German commander. Not the American commander. The German officers are brought back. Given the reply, they read it. Look confused. "What does this mean?" One asks. The American officer grins. It means, "Go to hell." The German officers are escorted back to their lines. The message reaches the German commanders. They're insulted, furious. The artillery bombardment intensifies. December 22nd to 23rd. The German attacks escalate. They're not subtle anymore. Not probing. This is all-out assault. German infantry, supported by tanks, hit multiple points on the perimeter simultaneously, trying to find a breakthrough. Any weakness, the western sector. A company of the 327th Glider Infantry holds the line. German Volksgrenadiers charge the positions, wave after wave. Some armed only with rifles and grenades, others with anti-tank weapons. American machine guns cut them down. The 30 caliber guns overheat. Gunners pour snow on the barrels to cool them. Keep firing. A German tank breaks through the tree line, aims at a machine gun nest. The position is destroyed. 3 men dead instantly. But an American Sherman tank rumbles forward. Its 75mm gun is no match for a Panther in a fair fight. So it doesn't fight fair. The Sherman circles, gets to the Panther's flank, fires. The Panther's side armor cracks. The tank brews up catches fire. Crew bails out into American fire. But the attack continues. More infantry. More tanks. The Germans are throwing everything at Bastogne. Private James Hendricks, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment, in his foxhole. You can't describe what it's like. The noise, the shaking. Shells landing so close, you feel the pressure wave in your chest. My buddy next to me, Johnny, caught shrapnel. Didn't even cry out. Just slumped over. I pulled him down into the hole. Tried to stop the bleeding, but it was dark. Cold. My hands were shaking. I couldn't. He died in that foxhole. I stayed there with his body until morning because I couldn't leave. Couldn't move. When dawn came, I climbed out. Kept fighting. What else could I do? December 23rd, dawn. The fog lifts. For the first time in days, the sky is visible, clear, cold, beautiful. And for the Americans trapped in Bastogne, it's the most beautiful sight they've ever seen. Because now the planes can fly. American soldiers look up, point, shout. Planes. Our planes. C-47 transport aircraft. Dozens of them, flying in formation over Bastogne. The cargo doors open. Parachutes deploy. Hundreds of them. Red, white, blue, yellow, different colors for different supplies. They drift down, swaying in the wind, landing inside the perimeter. Some landing in German positions. The Germans grab what they can, but most land with the Americans. Soldiers run to the drop zones. Tear open containers. Ammunition, medical supplies, food, blankets, artillery shells. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough. But it's something. Hope. And the planes keep coming. Not just transports. Fighters. Bombers. P-47 Thunderbolts scream down, strafing German positions with 50 caliber machine guns. Dropping bombs on panzer formations. B-26 Marauders hit German artillery positions, supply depots, troop concentrations. The tide is turning. 4 days. The Germans had air superiority by default. Now, American air power is unleashed. German soldiers, who've been attacking with relative impunity, are now being hammered from above. Tanks burn. Supply trucks explode. German infantry scramble for cover. But the Germans don't give up. They can't. Hitler's orders are absolute. Take Bastogne, no excuses. December 23rd to 24th. Christmas Eve. German forces launch another massive assault, their largest yet. They hit the northwestern sector, the village of Champs, held by elements of the 502nd and 327th. It's night, pitch black. Snow falling. German infantry infiltrate American lines. Fighting is hand-to-hand. Bayonets, rifle butts, knives. Sergeant Leighton Black's squad is overrun. Germans in their foxholes. He empties his M1, grabs a shovel, swings it like an axe. He kills 2 Germans before a third shoots him. Wounded, he keeps fighting. Won't go down. Other Americans rush to help. The position is held. Barely. At dawn, the Germans pull back. The attack has failed. Bodies lie frozen in the snow. The medics can't reach them all. Christmas morning in Bastogne. December 25th, 1944. Christmas Day. In Bastogne, there are no Christmas celebrations. No carols. No gifts. There's just survival. American soldiers in their foxholes try to mark the day. Some sing quietly. Some pray. Some just stare at the tree line, waiting for the next attack. The aid stations are full. Wounded men lying on the cold floor. Chaplains move among them, offering what comfort they can. Medical supplies are nearly exhausted. Surgeons operate without anesthesia. Just whiskey if they're lucky. Nothing if they're not. A soldier with a leg wound bites down on a leather strap while a surgeon removes the metal. Screams through clenched teeth. In another corner, a young private dies from abdominal wounds. The chaplain holds his hand, whispers prayers. Outside, it's snowing again. Quiet, almost peaceful, but everyone knows the Germans haven't given up. December 25th. German commanders receive new orders from Hitler himself. Take Bastogne. Today, whatever the cost, German forces prepare for another assault. They concentrate their remaining armor. Panthers, Tigers, Stoogie, assault guns supporting infantry from multiple divisions. The target, the southeastern perimeter, the village of Marvy. At 5:30 a.m., Christmas morning, German artillery opens up, but this time, American counter-battering fire responds. The resupply drops included artillery shells. American guns hit back. It's not enough to stop the German attack, but it slows it, disrupts it. The German infantry and tanks advance through the bombardment. Marvy, held by Company A, 327th Glider Infantry, maybe 100 men. Spread thin, foxholes, and improvised positions. They watch the German armor approaching through the snow. 3 Panthers, 4 Stooges, supporting infantry, maybe 300 men. The Americans have bazookas, limited anti-tank mines. And desperation, company command awaits. Lets the tanks get close. Then, open fire. Bazooka teams target the lead vehicles. 2 rockets fired simultaneously at the Lead Panther. 1 misses. 1 hits the front armor. The strongest point. The rocket bounces off. The Panther's turret swivels. Fires. A foxhole disappears. 3 men dead, but another bazooka team on the Panther's flank fires. Hit. The Panther's side armor cracks. Fire erupts from the engine. The crew bails, but the other tanks keep coming. A Stoogie assault gun crashes through a stone wall. Its 75mm gun fires at point-blank range into American positions. The American line wavers. Men fall back. The position is collapsing. Then, from Bastogne, American Sherman tanks rumble forward. 3 Shermans. 75mm guns. Inferior to German Panthers in a straight fight. But the German armor is exposed. Committed to the attack. No room to maneuver. The Shermans take up positions, hold down only the turrets visible, using terrain for cover. They fire. A Stoogie is hit, immobilized. Crew abandons it. Another Stoogie returns fire, hits a Sherman. The shell penetrates. The Sherman explodes ammunition, cooking off, but the other 2 Shermans keep firing. Methodical, accurate. A Panther turns to engage the Shermans, exposes its flank to infantry. A bazooka team crawl through the snow. Get within 50 meters. Fowler steadies the tube. Brown loads. They're so close, they can hear the Germans inside the tank, talking. Fire. The rocket penetrates the Panther's rear armor. The weakest point. The tank explodes from within. The remaining German armor pulls back. The infantry retreats. The line holds. Christmas Day, 1944. Evening. The Germans have failed again. The perimeter holds, but the cost is staggering. American casualties are mounting. Dead, wounded, missing, frostbite cases, shell shock. Entire squads have been wiped out. Platoons reduced to a handful of men. Companies at half strength. Ammunition is low again. The airdrops help, but it's not enough. Artillery is rationed to critical situations only. Food is scarce. Soldiers eat 1 meal a day, sometimes less, and it's cold. So cold. Men huddle together for warmth. Share blankets. Wrap their feet in whatever they can find. Rags, newspapers, pieces of parachute. Trench foot is epidemic. Soldiers can't feel their feet. When they take off their boots, the skin is white, then purple, then black. Some will lose toes. Some will lose feet. In the aid stations, surgeons amputate frostbitten limbs. No anesthesia. Just morphine, if available. Nothing if not. It's a brutal calculus. Lose the foot or lose the soldier. December 26th, 1944. Morning. The weather is clear again. More supply drops. More air support. But everyone in Bastogne knows they can't hold forever. Ammunition will run out. Food will run out. Men will reach their breaking point. The question isn't if Bastogne will fall. It's when Unless December 26th, 1944, 4:45 p.m. South of the village of Ardennes. Elements of the 4th Armored Division have been fighting their way north for days, trying to break through German lines, trying to reach Bastogne. It's been brutal. German resistance is fierce. Every village is a battle. Every crossroads contested. The 4th Armored has lost tanks, men, time. But they keep pushing. Lieutenant Colonel Crichton, Abramsil Eads. The final push. His tanks smash through German positions. Infantry follows, fighting house to house. German panzers try to block the road. Tanks duel at close range. The Americans lose to Shermans, but they knock out the German tanks. Keep moving. The road to Bastogne is open. Inside Bastogne, American soldiers hear engines. Vehicle sounds coming from the south. Is it German? Another attack. Then they see them. American tanks. Shermans. The white star clearly visible. For a moment, nobody moves. Nobody believes it. Then someone shouts, "It's Patton! It's the Third Army!" The siege is broken after 7 days. 7 days of bombardment, attacks, cold, hunger, death. Relief has arrived. American tankers from the 4th Armored roll into Bastogne. Stop their vehicles. Climb out. They look around. At the destroyed buildings. The frozen bodies. The exhausted soldiers emerging from foxholes. One tanker asks a paratrooper, "You guys okay?" The paratrooper just nods. "Yeah, we're okay." Another tanker hands over cigarettes, coffee, food. The paratroopers take them with shaking hands. Someone asks, "Were you worried?" A paratrooper grins. Exhausted. Defiant. Worried. We were just getting warmed up. But the battle isn't over. The siege is broken, but Bastogne is still surrounded. The corridor is narrow, vulnerable. German forces still ring the town. They're not giving up. For the next 3 weeks, the battle continues. German counterattacks try to close the corridor. Amerikan Rhein, full sense, Pudering. More men, more tanks, more supplies. The fighting is brutal, but the balance has shifted. Let's talk about what the soldiers of Bastogne endure. Not just the combat, not just the tactics, but what it felt like, what it cost. Because this isn't just a story about holding a town. It's about what happens to human beings when they're pushed to the absolute edge of survival. Private First Class John Jack Agnew, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 22 years old, farm kid from Iowa. People ask me what I remember most about Bastogne. They expect me to talk about the combat, the Germans, the tanks. But you know what I remember? The cold. It wasn't just cold like a winter day back home. This was different. It got inside you, made your bones ache, made your teeth hurt, made you so tired you couldn't think straight. I remember my feet. I couldn't feel them after the 3rd day. Just nothing. Like they weren't there anymore. When we finally got pulled out, they took my boots off. My socks were frozen to my skin. The medic had to cut them off. Pieces of skin came with it. I lost 3 toes. Frostbite. I was one of the lucky ones. The cold wasn't just discomfort. It was a weapon. It killed as surely as bullets. Frostbite casualties exceeded combat casualties in some units. Men lost toes, feet, fingers, hands. Some lost limbs to gangrene when circulation stopped completely. Trenchfoot was epidemic. The pain was excruciating. Walking became agony. Fighting became nearly impossible. But they fought anyway, because what choice did they have? Technical Sergeant George Loves, radio operator, 506th Pier, The worst part. The boredom. Sounds crazy, right? You're getting shelled. Germans are trying to kill you. You're freezing. Starving. But between the attacks, hours of nothing. Just sitting in a frozen hole. Waiting. You can't sleep, too cold. Too scared. Can't read, too dark. Can't talk much. Sound carries might give away your position. So you just sit there with your thoughts. And your thoughts in a place like that, they're not good company. You think about home, about whether you'll ever see it again, about the guys who didn't make it, about whether today's your day. The boredom, the waiting, that's what breaks you before the combat even starts. December 24th, Christmas Eve. The aid station in the Bastogne town church. Wounded men lie on the stone floor. On pews. Anywhere there's space. The air smells of blood, antiseptic, and death. Captain Jack Pryor, battalion surgeon, works without stopping. He's been operating for 18 hours straight. No anesthesia left. Morphine is almost gone. Plasma exhausted. A young soldier is brought in on a stretcher. Pryor examines him, knows immediately. The wounds are too severe. Without proper surgery, blood transfusions, time. There's nothing he can do. The soldier knows, too. You can see it in his eyes. Pryor holds his hand, stays with him. The chaplain comes over, says prayers. The soldier asks, "Am I going home, Doc?" Pryor swallows, nods. "Yeah, son, you're going home." The soldier dies in that cold church on Christmas Eve, thousands of miles from home. He's 24. His name was Private Michael Ranney, from Ohio. He wanted to be a teacher. He's one of hundreds who died at this, but in the histories, he's just a statistic. Let's talk about fear. Combat veterans will tell you. Everyone is afraid. The question isn't whether you're scared. It's what you do with that fear. Some men freeze. Can't move. Can't function. Their bodies just shut down. Combat exhaustion. Shell shock. Battle fatigue. Today we call it PTSD. But in 1944, they just called it cracking up. Private Daniel Webster, 327th Glider Infantry, describes his breaking point. It was the 5th day, or 6th. I don't know. The days blurred together. We'd been shelled all morning. Then the Germans attacked. We fought them off. More shelling, another attack. I was reloading my rifle when I just stopped. My hands wouldn't work. I tried to push the clip in. No, the M1. You just push it in and the bolt snaps forward. Simple. I'd done it 1,000 times, but I couldn't. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped the clip. Dropped the rifle. I started crying. Just broke down. Crying. Couldn't stop. My Sergeant Millsy came over. I thought he'd yell at me. Call me a coward. Instead, he just sat down next to me. Put his arm around me. Let me cry. After a few minutes, he picked up my rifle. Loaded it for me. Handed it back. Said, "You're okay, Webster. You're okay. Just a few more hours. We can do a few more hours." I took the rifle, got back in the foxhole. I don't remember the rest of that day. The soldiers at Bastogne weren't superheroes. They were just men, young men, most in their early 20s. Some teenagers. They were scared, cold, hungry, exhausted beyond what most of us can imagine, but they stayed. They held the line, not because they were fearless, but because their buddies were next to them, because surrender meant abandoning their friends, because they'd been told to hold, and by God, they'd hold. That's the real story of Bastogne. Not tactics, not strategy, Not even the famous nuts. Reply. It's about ordinary men doing extraordinary things. Because they had to. Because there was no one else. December 27th to 28th. The corridor is widening. More American forces arriving. Supplies flowing in. But the Germans haven't given up. They launch a massive counteroffensive, trying to cut the corridor, trying to re-isolate Bastogne. Operation Baseplate. It's coordinated with a surprise Luftwaffe attack on Allied airfields. But that's another story. For now, German ground forces attacked from multiple directions. The village of Chinon, northwest of Bastogne, held by the 11th Armored Division newly arrived. January 1st, 1945. German SS troops attack in force. These aren't regular. These are SS, fanatical, well-trained, brutal. They hit the American positions at dawn, before the defenses are fully established. Hand-to-hand fighting in the village streets. House to house. Room to room. An American squad is pinned down in a stone farmhouse. Germans are throwing stick grenades through the windows. Squad leader realizes they'll be overrun. He grabs a bar, kicks open the door, and charges. He fires from the hip, cutting down the lead German soldiers, giving his squad time to reposition. A German soldier fires, hits Peniche in the shoulder. Peniche keeps firing, drops 2 more Germans. Another bullet hits him. Leg. He goes down from the ground, bleeding. He keeps firing the bar, covering his squad's withdrawal. He kills or wounds 8 German soldiers before he runs out of ammunition. His squad drags him back. He survives, awarded the Silver Star, but he walks with a limp for the rest of his life. The German counteroffensive fails. American reinforcements are too strong now. The corridor holds, widens. By mid-January 1945, Bastogne is secure. The German forces around the town are pushed back. The Battle of the Bulge is turning into an Allied victory. But the cost. Let's talk numbers. The Battle of the Bulge is the largest and bloodiest battle fought by the United States in World War II. Total American casualties: approximately 89,000, 19,000 killed, 47,500 wounded, 23,000 captured or missing. German casualties: approximately 100,000 killed, wounded, or captured. At Bastogne specifically, American casualties during the siege December 20th through 26th, approximately 3,000, including killed, wounded, missing, and frostbite cases. American casualties in the entire Bastogne sector through January, approximately 10,000 plus, but numbers don't tell the whole story. Private First Class Eugene Rowe says, I treated maybe 200 men during the siege. Maybe more. I lost count. Wounds you can't imagine. Shrapnel, bullets, burns, frostbite so bad the flesh was black and dead. I ran out of morphine on the 3rd day. Had to beg, borrow, steal from other medics, from wounded Germans, from the dead. I held men while they died. Young men, boys, really, calling for their mothers, asking me to write letters home. One kid lost both legs below the knee. Stepped on a mine. I tried to stop the bleeding. Couldn't. Nothing worked. He knew it. I knew it. He looked up at me and said, "Tell my mom I wasn't scared." But he was. I could see it in his eyes. I lied to him, said, "You're gonna be fine. You're going home." He smiled, said, "Thank you, Doc." And then he died. I think about him every day. His name was Private Tommy Henderson, from Georgia. I never wrote to his mother. I didn't know what to say. January 1945. The 101st Airborne is finally relieved, pulled out of the line. They've been in continuous combat for over a month, since Market Garden in September. Then Bastogne in December. They're exhausted, depleted, traumatized. The paratroopers march to trucks. They don't talk, don't joke, just walk. They're different men than they were a month ago. They're sent to camps in France. Rest. Replacements arrive. New equipment issued, but some things can't be replaced. The Easy Company of Band of Brothers fame went into Bastogne with 121 men. They came out with 63. What did Bastogne accomplish? Strategically, it broke the German offensive. By holding Bastogne, the Americans denied the Germans the road network they needed. German armor couldn't maneuver, couldn't advance quickly. The delay gave the Allies time to reposition forces, to counterattack, to turn Hitler's gamble into a catastrophic defeat. The Battle of the Bulge cost Germany forces it could never replace. Tanks, veteran soldiers, fuel, equipment. After the Bulge, Germany was finished. Everyone knew it. It was just a matter of time. Bastogne helped end the war. But tactically, personally, Major Richard Winters, commander of Easy Company, 506th Pier, Bastogne taught us what we were capable of, what men can endure when they have to. We were cold, hungry, outnumbered, surrounded. But we had each other. We had our training. We had our pride. I watched men do things I didn't think possible. Private Albert Blythe stood his ground at Bastogne, never flinched. I watched Sergeant William Garner lose his leg to a shell and still crack jokes while the medics worked on him. I watched our medic work 24 hours straight without sleep, saving men who should have died. Bastogne didn't make us heroes. It showed us what we already were. We were just soldiers, doing our job, taking care of each other. That's all any of us could do. February 1945. The snow begins to melt. Spring is coming. American forces push into Germany. The Rhine is crossed. The Allies advance from the west. The Soviets advance from the east. Germany is collapsing. The men who survived Bastogne fight on. Suru Germany. Into Berchtesgaden. To Hitler's Eagle's Nest. Many are there on May 8, 1945. Victory in Europe. The war in Europe is over. But for the men of Bastogne, the war never really ends. They come home. 2 parades. 2 celebrations. To a country that calls them heroes. But at night, they dream of the cold, the shelling, the friends who didn't come home. People thank me for my service. Say I'm a hero. I'm not a hero. The heroes are still in Belgium, in the American cemetery at Henry Chapelle, in the graves marked with white crosses. I'm just a survivor. I think about them every day. My buddies, the guys who didn't make it. Sometimes I wonder, why them? Why not me? I've had 70 years. They never got a career, a family, grandchildren. All because I was a little luckier. A few feet to the left instead of right. 1 step faster or slower. That's all that separated us. Luck. So when people call me a hero, I think of them, and I wonder what they would have done with these years. All I can do is try to live well enough for both of us. Today, if you visit Bastogne, you can still see the scars. The town has been rebuilt. Modern. Prosperous. The buildings destroyed in 1944 have been replaced, but the memory remains. In the town square stands the Mardassen Memorial, a star-shaped monument honoring the American soldiers who fought at Bastogne. The names of American units are engraved in the stone. The battles they fought. The dates. Tourists visit. Read the inscriptions. Take photos. Most of them can't truly understand what happened here. How could they? A few miles outside town is the Bastogne War Museum. Modern, interactive. You can see artifacts from the battle. Uniforms. Weapons. Equipment. You can watch videos. Read testimonies. Walk through recreated scenes. But you can't feel the cold. can't hear the shells, can't smell the fear. And every December, on the anniversary, the few remaining veterans return. They're in their 90s now. The youngest survivors are in their late 90s. Most are gone. They walk through the town, visit the memorials, stand where their foxholes were, and they remember December 2019, the 75th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. A handful of American veterans attend. Maybe a dozen, most in wheelchairs. Some with oxygen tanks. Belgian children sing for them, wave American flags. The veterans cry, not for themselves, for their friends who didn't make it home. One veteran is interviewed. "I'm 96 years old. I'm one of the last ones left. When I'm gone, there won't be anyone left who is actually here, who lived through it. People will read about Bastogne in books, watch movies, visit the monuments, but they won't know. Not really. They won't know what it felt like to be 19 years old, freezing in a foxhole, wondering if you'd see your 20th birthday. They won't know what it sounded like when artillery landed close, the way the ground shook, the ringing in your ears. They won't know the smell. Blood, smoke, death. When we're gone, all of that goes with us. That's what I think about now. We're not just dying. We're taking the truth with us. So I tell my story to anyone who'll listen. Students, reporters, museums, because somebody has to remember. Somebody has to tell the truth about what happened here. Bob Teets died in 2021, age 98. He's buried in Arlington National Cemetery. So why does Bastogne matter? Why tell this story? Because Bastogne represents something fundamental about human nature. It's about what ordinary people can do when pushed to the absolute limit. When survival seems impossible, when every rational calculation says to give up. They didn't. The soldiers at Bastogne weren't supermen. They weren't action heroes. They were farmers and factory workers, students and shop clerks. Kids who'd never been away from home before. They were cold, scared. Many wanted desperately to surrender, to escape, to survive. But they stayed because their friends were staying, because someone had to, because they'd been asked to hold, and they'd said yes. That's the lesson of Bastogne. Not tactics, not technology, not even bravery in the traditional sense. It's about loyalty, about duty, about the bonds between soldiers that transcend self-preservation. When General McAuliffe said nuts to the German surrender demand, he wasn't being flippant. He wasn't joking. He was speaking for 18,000 men who'd decided, collectively, that some things matter more than survival, that freedom matters, that keeping your word matters, that not letting down the man next to you matters, even if it costs you everything. The Siege of Bastogne lasted 7 days, December 20th through December 26th, 1944. In those 7 days, approximately 3,000 American casualties, thousands more frostbite cases, countless acts of heroism that will never be recorded. A generation of young men forever changed, but they held. Against 4 German divisions, against panzer tanks, against artillery, against the cold, against hunger, against fear. They held. Today, when we face our own challenges, we can remember Boston. Remember that ordinary people, when they have to, can do extraordinary things. Remember that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's continuing despite fear. Remember that loyalty, duty, and brotherhood can overcome nearly anything. The men of Bastogne didn't think of themselves as heroes. They were just doing their job, taking care of each other, holding the line. But they saved each other, saved the offensive, helped end the war. And in doing so, they showed us what humans are capable of when everything is on the line. This has been the story of the Beast of Bastogne. The soldiers who stood in the frozen hell of a Belgian winter and refused to break. Remember their names: the 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles, the 10th Armored Division, the Tiger Division, the 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion, the 969th Field Artillery Battalion, and thousands of individual soldiers whose names we'll never know. They stood at Bastogne, and the world changed, because they did. In memory of all who served at Bastogne, December 1944. We were surrounded. That simplified the problem. Anonymous, 101st Airborne.